The IV bag swung from the acacia branch like a transparent lung, dripping life into something that shouldn't be alive. Martha Henderson's hands, steady after 40 years of practice, but trembling now with exhaustion, adjusted the flow rate while Sarah Chen held up her phone's flashlight in the pre-dawn darkness. If James sees this, Sarah started, then he sees it. Martha didn't look up from the catheter site. The jugular vein, thick as her pinky finger, pulsed weakly under her touch. Temperature, still 41.2. Martha, we need to... The sound came from behind them, not the snapping of a twig or rustling of grass that would signal a predator. Something worse. The distinctive click of a camera shutter. Martha turned slowly, her headlamp cutting through the darkness. Jennifer Brooks stood 20 feet away, her iPhone raised, its screen casting blue light across her face. But it wasn't the tourist that made Martha's blood run cold. It was what Jennifer was filming. The cheetah cub, the one they'd started calling Echo, was dragging something through the dirt toward them. Something that caught the light wrong, too angular to be prey, too deliberate in how the cub gripped it between his teeth. "Jesus Christ," Sarah whispered. "Is that—" Martha stood, her knees protesting after 3 hours of kneeling. The cub stopped 5 feet away and dropped his burden in the dust. A leather journal, water-stained and torn, fell open to pages covered in handwriting Martha recognized immediately. Tom's handwriting, her dead husband's journal, the one she'd buried with his ashes 8 months ago at the base of Observation Hill, 30 kilometers from here. The pages she could see were covered in his neat script, but there was something else. Fresh writing in the margins. Different ink, different hand. The cub sat back on his haunches, his amber eyes fixed on Martha's face, waiting. Behind him, his mother's labored breathing had changed rhythm. The IV bag was nearly empty. Dawn was breaking, painting the savannah in shades of gold and blood. Martha reached for the journal with hands that no longer trembled from exhaustion, but from something else entirely. As her fingers touched the leather, she saw what had been pressed between the pages, a photograph she had never seen before. Tom, standing next to a cheetah. Not just any cheetah. This cheetah, F40, the dying mother behind her. But that was impossible. Tom had never been to Kenya without her. Had never. The photo was dated 3 years ago, 6 months before his diagnosis, when he'd supposedly been at that medical conference in Houston. Sarah's phone buzzed, then Jennifer's. Then Martha's radio crackled to life with Robert's voice, tight with panic. "Martha, get out of there now. Corporate security is 10 minutes out. They have arrest warrants. They know about the medical supplies. Someone leaked." The mother cheetah made a sound Martha had never heard before, not the usual chirp or growl, but something guttural, urgent. Her eyes, clouded with pain, fixed on the journal in Martha's hands, on the photograph. "Martha," Sarah grabbed her arm. "We have to go, now." But Martha couldn't move, couldn't breathe, because she'd just noticed the date on the fresh writing in the margins. Yesterday's date, and below it, in handwriting she didn't recognize, "She remembers him. She's been waiting for you. Check the GPS coordinates below. There's something else buried there. Something he left for you to find when you were ready, when she was dying, when you'd have to choose between the rules and the right thing." The rumble of engines grew closer. The cub picked up the journal in his mouth again, gentle as a retriever with a bird, and began walking toward the deep grass, away from the approaching vehicles, toward the coordinates scrawled at the bottom of the page. The mother cheetah struggled to her feet, a line pulling free, blood trickling down her neck. She took one impossible step, then another, following her cub, following the journal. "Martha!" Sarah pulled harder. "They're here. Black SUVs crested the ridge, dust clouds rising like smoke signals. Martha had 30 seconds to decide face arrest and lose everything, or follow a dying cheetah and her cub into the bush, chasing a ghost secret that couldn't possibly exist. The cheetah looked back once, the journal still dangling from her cub's mouth. Martha ran. Before we continue, please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know which city you're watching from. Now, let's get back to the story. Martha's boot slipped on loose shale. Her ankle twisted. She caught herself on a thorn bush that tore through her sleeve, drawing blood. The cheetah moved through the grass ahead, slower now, each step deliberate. The cub walked backward, still gripping the journal, watching Martha follow. Behind them, doors slammed, men shouting, Robert's voice cutting through. She went east toward the riverbed. A lie. She'd gone north. The mother cheetah's breathing came in wet gasps. Blood from the IV site had dried black on her neck. Her back legs trembled with each step, but she kept moving, kept leading Martha deeper into the bush. The Jeep coordinates. Martha pulled her phone from her pocket, hands slick with sweat and blood, 72 kilometers north. They'd never make it. Not with the mother in this condition, not with security teams spreading out behind them. Her radio crackled. Martha! And James's voice, low and urgent. I can see you from the ridge. There's a ravine 40 meters to your left, cuts north. Take it. She looked up, couldn't see him. But the ravine was there, a crack in the earth hidden by yellow grass. The cheetah had already found it, was already descending. Martha slid down after them, rocks scraping her palms. The ravine walls rose 8 feet on either side, carved by floods that no longer came. The bottom was sand and scattered bones, zebra skull, wildebeest ribs, the archaeology of drought. The mother cheetah collapsed. Not slowly. Her legs simply folded. She hit the sand hard, sides heaving. The cub dropped the journal and pressed against her, making small, chirping sounds. Martha knelt, touched the mother's side, burning hot. Heart rate so fast she couldn't count individual beats. Shit. She had nothing, no IV fluids, no medications. Her medical kit was back at the site. James appeared at the ravine's edge, medical bag slung over his shoulder. He tossed it down, then lowered himself after it. Security went south, he said, not meeting her eyes. But they'll circle back. 10 minutes, maybe 15. He was already pulling supplies out, dexamethasone for the shock, lactated ringers. His hands moved with the efficiency of someone who'd made a decision. Why? Martha asked. He looked at the journal lying in the sand, at the photograph visible between its pages. His jaw tightened. Because I was there. 3 years ago, when your husband came here alone. Martha's hand froze on the IV catheter. The sand beneath her knees felt suddenly unstable. James pushed the needle into the mother cheetah's neck, not looking at her. Tom contacted me through the research station, James said, the IV bag filled with blood, then cleared as the line flushed. Said he was consulting on wildlife diseases for a pharmaceutical company, needed access to cheetah blood samples. The mother's breathing steadied slightly. Her eye tracked the cub, who had picked up the journal again and was pawing at something tucked in its spine. A folded paper. He was sick. James pulled out a second bag of fluids. Already, I could see it in how he moved, how he kept touching his stomach. But he spent 3 days out here with her. He nodded at the mother cheetah. She was younger then, had her first litter, 2 cubs. Both died in the drought that year. Yet Martha reached for the journal. The cub let her take it. The folded paper fell out a medical lab report, not Tom's. The header read F429 Blood Analysis, dated it 3 years ago. He took samples, Martha said. Her throat felt lined with sand. He did more than that. James attached the second Ive. He stayed with her for 72 hours when she went into premature labor, sat in the dirt in 40-degree heat, fed her by hand, kept her alive when she should have died. The lab report showed antibody markers Martha recognized. Experimental immunotherapy proteins, the same ones Tom had been researching before his diagnosis. The ones that might have saved him if the FDA hadn't shut down the trials. He used her. The words came out raw. No! James finally looked at her. He saved her, and she saved him. Tom died 8 months ago. Did he? James pointed at fresh scratches on the mother cheetah's shoulder. Those are from yesterday, from someone checking her lymph nodes, someone who knew exactly where to look. Martha's radio crackled. Sarah's voice. They found the ravine 2 minutes out. The mother cheetah struggled to rise. The cub chirped, urgent. It grabbed the journal and started north, deeper into the ravine where it narrowed. There's a cave, James said, shouldering his medical bag. 100 meters. She knows it. They lifted the mother between them, her body lighter than Martha expected. Bones sharp under fur. The IVs swung as they walked, tubing catching on roots. The ravine walls grew higher, closer. Shadow swallowed them. The cave opened behind a curtain of dried vines, not deep, maybe 12 feet, but enough. The mother collapsed again on the cool stone. The cub had already arranged the journal in the corner, open to a page Martha hadn't seen, Tom's handwriting. But shaky day 1047. The treatment is working, not on me, too late for that, but through me. Into her, into this. Every injection I give myself, I give her. Same dose, same time. The proteins bind differently in their cells, adapt, evolve. If I'm right, her offspring will carry immunity to the hemorrhagic fever that's been killing them. If I'm right, my death means something. Below that, different writing, fresher the cubs she's carrying have the antibodies. All three, the blood work confirms it. Martha turned the page. A photograph of Tom, skeletal, thin, sitting beside F429. Her head rested on his lap, his hand on her neck, both looking at the camera. Who took the picture? Footsteps echoed in the ravine. Multiple sets, moving fast. James pulled a tarp from his bag, stretched it across the cave entrance. The mother cheetah's breathing had gone shallow again. The cub pressed against her belly, and Martha felt it movement under the fur, a ripple. The cubs inside still fighting. To Mitchell! A voice outside. Corporate security. We know you're in there. James looked at Martha, at the mother cheetah, at the journal. Tom's not dead, Martha whispered. The certainty hit her like ice water. He's here. He's been here. The tarp ripped away. 5 men in tactical gear, weapons drawn. But they weren't looking at Martha or James. They were looking at the figure standing behind them in the depths of the cave, thin, bearded, holding a syringe. Hello, Marty, Tom said. Martha's knees locked. The syringe in Tom's hand caught the light pale yellow liquid inside. His face was wrong, not just thin, restructured, cheekbones sharp as broken glass, eyes sunk deep. But the way he shifted his weight onto his left leg, favoring the old rodeo injury that was him. Sir, step back! The lead security officer raised his weapon. Hands where we can see them. Tom didn't move. The cheetah needs oxytocin now, or she'll hemorrhage. Tom's dead. Martha heard her own voice, flat. I watched him die, held his hand, felt his pulse stop, induced coma. He moved toward the mother cheetah. The security team tracked him with their weapons. Tetrodotoxin derivative. James monitored my vitals for 6 hours until I stabilized. James pressed his back against the cave wall. He made me promise. Said the treatment would kill him if he stayed in the States. But here, with them. He gestured at the cheetahs. The proteins needed both species to complete the synthesis. The mother cheetah convulsed. Fluid gushed from beneath her tail, blood-tinged amniotic fluid. Too much blood. Move! Tom dropped beside her, hands already working. Marty, I need you to hold her head. James, ketamine, quarter dose. Martha's body moved without her permission. Her hands cradled the cheetah's skull. The animal's eyes rolled back, showing white. Tom inserted the needle between contractions. Smooth. You let me grieve? Martha's voice cracked. 8 months! The FDA would have arrested you as an accomplice. Tom didn't look up. The pharmaceutical companies wanted the research, would have killed for it. This was the only way. The first cub crowned. Tom's hands guided it out slick, tiny, motionless. He cleared its airway, rubbed its chest. Nothing. Camera? Jennifer Brooks stood at the cave entrance, iPhone steady. Still recording. The security leader grabbed for her phone. She stepped back. Live stream. 40,000 viewers. She turned the screen toward him. Comments flooded past. Make that 60,000. Tom breathed into the cub's lungs. Tiny puffs. The mother cheetah's breathing went ragged. More blood. Too much. She's hemorrhaging. James pulled out gauze. Useless. Without surgery. I know. Tom's fingers found the pressure point above the birth canal. Marty, there's a black case in my pack. Back of the cave. Martha crawled to the backpack. Inside medical supplies, surgical tools, antibiotics with labels in Chinese, and underneath, documents, death certificate, Tom Henderson, signed by a doctor in Houston she'd never heard of. You planned everything? Not this. Tom glanced at the security team. They weren't supposed to find us. The first cub gasped, weak but breathing. Tom placed it against the mother's belly, then turned back to the birth canal. The second cub was coming wrong, backwards. Mr. Henderson. The security leader lowered his weapon. My daughter watches these streams. If that cheetah dies on camera, then help. Tom's hands disappeared inside the mother, repositioning. Hold her back legs. Steady. The man hesitated, then handed his rifle to another guard, knelt, gripped the cheetah's legs. The cub emerged slowly. Tom's face went white with concentration. The mother cheetah's heart rate on James's portable monitor, 180. 185. 190. Too fast, James muttered. She's going into cardiac arrest. Tom pulled the second cub free. Breathing, moving, he placed it beside its sibling. One more. She can't. James showed the monitor. Her heart. The mother cheetah made a sound low, guttural. Her eye found Martha's. Held it. She knows, Tom said quietly. She's choosing. Choosing what? To trust us. Or to let go. The chat on Jennifer's phone exploded. 150,000 viewers. Someone had tagged BBC Wildlife, CNN, National Geographic. The mother's body tensed for another contraction. The monitor screamed, heart rate 210. Epinephrine, Tom said. Now. James pushed the drug. The mother cheetah's body arced. The third cub emerged in a rush of blood and fluid, larger than the others, not moving. Tom scooped it up, cleared its mouth, rubbed its chest hard. Nothing. He breathed for it. Nothing. Tom. Martha touched his arm. It's been too long. No. He kept working. Compressions now, tiny pushes on the small chest. The proteins? They're supposed to protect them, make them stronger. The mother cheetah's breathing slowed. The monitor showed her heart rate dropping. 40, 20, 100. She's dying, James said. Echo, the older cub, approached his mother, sniffed the newborns, then did something Martha had never seen. He picked up the stillborn cub in his mouth, gentle, and carried it to Tom, laid it in his lap, then sat back and waited. Tom's hands shook as he lifted the cub. Its body was still warm, still soft. He pressed his ear to its chest. There's something. He grabbed James's stethoscope, listened. Faint, very faint. That's impossible. It's been 4 minutes. The proteins, Tom's voice urgent now, they slow cellular metabolism like hibernation. He turned to Martha. The cooler, in my pack, blue vial. Martha found it, unlabeled. Tom drew the contents into a syringe, injected it directly into the cub's heart. 10 seconds, 20, 30. The cub twitched, then coughed, then cried a thin, reedy sound. The live stream chat went silent, then exploded. 200,000 viewers, 250,000. The mother cheetah lifted her head, looked at her 3 living cubs. Her eyes found Tom. I know, girl, he whispered. I know. Mr. Henderson. The security leader stood. We have orders to bring you in. Tom nodded, started to stand. His legs buckled. Martha caught him, felt his weight too light. Under his shirt, she felt ridges, surgical scars, recent ones. Tom, what did you... His sleeve rode up. Track marks covered his arm, not from drugs, from daily injections. The proteins, he was still taking them. How many? She asked. Twice a day, for 3 years. He looked at the cubs. They needed continuous exposure through her milk to build immunity. Those doses would destroy your liver. Already has. He smiled. The same crooked smile from their wedding day. 6 months, maybe 8. The security radio crackled. Corporate wants them brought in immediately. All of them. The cheetahs, too. Tom and Martha looked at each other. At the mother cheetah, barely breathing. At the 3 cubs, who would die without her. They want the research, Tom said. The proteins. They'll synthesize them, patent them, sell them. And the cheetahs, test subjects. The security leader checked his weapon. We have our orders. Martha felt the weight of Tom's journal in her hands. 3 years of research, 3 years of sacrifice, 3 cubs that might hold the key to their species' survival, or might die in a corporate laboratory. Actually, Sarah's voice came from behind the security team. You don't... She stood at the cave entrance, holding her phone. On the screen, a document. An injunction. Emergency Wildlife Protection Order, signed 10 minutes ago. Thanks to 250,000 people calling their representatives. The security leader reached for his radio. Static. He tried his phone. No signal. Robert Williams appeared beside Sarah, holding a signal jammer. Behind him, Joseph Kamau and 12 Maasai warriors, traditional spears in hand. This is tribal land, Joseph said. You're trespassing. The security leader's hand moved to his sidearm. Joseph's warriors shifted their weight, spear points catching the cave's filtered light. Martha felt Tom's pulse through his wrist, rapid, irregular. The mother cheetah's breathing had gone shallow, rattling. Tribal land. The security leader kept his voice steady. Corporate has lease agreements. Fraudulent ones. Joseph pulled papers from his leather pouch. Signed by officials who had no authority. The ministry confirmed it 20 minutes ago. Jennifer's phone showed 300,000 viewers, comments streaming in multiple languages. Someone had started a hashtag, SaveF429. The lead guard's radio crackled despite the jammer, a different frequency. "Peterson! Status report." Peterson, the guard's name, looked at his team. 5 men with automatic weapons against 12 Maasai with spears. But the cave was narrow. "The first shots would bring down rocks. Tell them we're handling the situation," Tom said. He'd moved to the mother cheetah, checking her vitals with fingers that shook. "Tell them you need more time." "Why would I do that?" Tom pulled a folded paper from his pocket. "Because AgriFlow has been poisoning the water table, not just diverting it, poisoning it." He handed the paper to Peterson. "Pesticide runoff, chromium, lead. Your daughter, she's 7, right, lives in Narok." Peterson's jaw tightened. "Her school gets water from the same aquifer." Tom continued. "Has she been having headaches? Nosebleeds? How do you—" "I've been testing water samples for 3 years, every village, every school." Tom's hand pressed against the mother cheetah's neck, feeling for a pulse. "It's all in that document," Peterson read. His face changed color. He lowered his weapon. "Stand down," he told his team. "Sir." "I said stand down." One guard didn't lower his rifle. "Corporate's orders were clear. Corporate can—" Peterson stopped, looked at the live stream camera. "Corporate can send someone else?" The mother cheetah tried to lift her head. Failed. The cubs were crawling blindly toward her belly. Seeking warmth, Tom pulled off his shirt, wrapped them against her skin. Martha saw his torso surgical scars crisscrossing like a map, recent ones still pink. "What did you do?" Martha touched the scar that ran from his sternum to his navel. "Partial hepatectomy. 2 months ago." Tom didn't look at her. Liver was failing. Had to remove 60%. You can't survive on 40%. Not for long." He prepared another syringe. "But long enough." James checked his supplies. "She needs blood. Lost too much." "Then give her mine." Tom rolled up his sleeve. "That's not how. My blood has the proteins. Same one she's been getting. It might work. It might kill her. She's dying anyway." Martha watched James prepare the transfusion kit. Direct transfer. Dangerous. Primitive. Tom's blood flowing through tubing into the cheetah's veins. "This is insane," James muttered. Sarah knelt beside them with the ultrasound. Her heart rate's stabilizing. The cubs found their mother's teats, began nursing weakly. Echo, the older cub, lay beside them, watchful. Joseph's grandson, David, pushed through the crowd. "The government vehicles are coming, and more corporate security." "How long?" Robert asked. 20 minutes, maybe less." Tom stood too quickly, swayed. Martha caught him. "We need to move them," he said. "Where she can't walk?" "There's a research station, 2 kilometers north, abandoned." "I've been living there." Peterson stepped forward. "I can help. My vehicle has a covered bed." His team looked at him. He stared back. "My daughter, she's sick. Has been for months. Now I know why." Tom nodded, started to lift the mother cheetah. His arms shook. He dropped to one knee. "Damn it!" Blood ran from his nose. He wiped it, kept trying. "Stop!" Martha grabbed his shoulders. "You're killing yourself." "She trusted me." His voice broke. 3 years ago, when she was dying the first time, she let me help, let me inject her with experimental proteins that could have killed her, because she had no choice. And it worked. But at what cost? He gestured at the cave. Corporate knows, government knows, they'll never stop hunting her, hunting them. The mother cheetah's eyes opened, found Tom's face. She made a soft, chirping sound. "I know, girl," he whispered. "I'm trying." Peterson and 2 other guards improvised a stretcher from tactical gear and branches. They lifted the mother carefully. The cubs mewed in protest as they were moved. Echo grabbed the journal in his mouth again, following. Outside the cave, the ravine stretched north. They moved in a strange procession, corporate security carrying an endangered cheetah, Maasai warriors providing cover, a supposedly dead scientist stumbling alongside, supported by his widow who'd thought she'd burned his body. Jennifer kept filming. 500,000 viewers. Someone leaked this to Netflix. They want documentary rights. Tell them no, Tom said. Tom? Martha started. Tell them to donate every cent to water restoration. Peterson's vehicle waited beyond the ravine, a modified Land Cruiser with a covered bed. They loaded the mother cheetah carefully, the cubs huddled against her. Echo jumped in last, still carrying the journal. I'll drive, Peterson said. Your career? Robert started. My daughter matters more. He looked at Tom. The water data? How bad is it? 70% of boreholes in Narok District are contaminated. Cancer rates up 300% in 5 years. Peterson's hands tightened on the steering wheel. The research station, I know where it is. Used to patrol there before it closed. 2 vehicles, Peterson's and Robert's Park service truck. The rest would follow on foot. Tom climbed in beside the mother cheetah. Martha followed. James and Sarah squeezed in with medical supplies. The engine started. They rolled forward. Behind them, dust clouds on the horizon. Government convoy approaching. They'll have helicopters, Robert said through the radio. Tom pulled out a satellite phone Martha had never seen. Dialed, waited. It's me, he said. Yes. Now, everything we discussed. He hung up, looked at Martha. Who was that? Insurance. He checked the mother cheetah's pulse. Weak but steady. 3 years of planning for this day. The research station appeared through acacia trees. Concrete buildings with broken windows. Solar panels covered in dust. But the satellite dish on the roof looked new. Recently installed, they carried the mother cheetah inside. The main lab had been converted into a makeshift veterinary clinic, IV stands, monitors, a surgical table, refrigerators humming on solar power. You've been preparing, Martha said, since the day I died. Tom connected the cheetah to monitors, heart rate 92, low but stable. I knew she'd need help again. The pregnancy would be high risk with the proteins in her system. Sarah set up the ultrasound. The cubs need colostrum within the hour or their immune systems won't develop properly. The mother was too weak to produce milk. Tom prepared another injection. His hands shook so badly, James had to take over. Your neurological function is compromised, James said. Protein accumulation in the cerebellum. Tom sat heavily on a crate. Started 2 weeks ago. Martha knelt beside him. How long do you really have? Does it matter? He watched the cheetah. She'll survive. The cubs will carry the immunity forward. That's all. That helicopter rotors thundered overhead. Then another set. Military, not corporate. David ran in. Soldiers surrounding the building. Through the broken windows, Martha saw troops deploying, Kenyan military, weapons raised. Tom Henderson, a voice boomed through a megaphone. You're under arrest for violation of international biological weapons treaties, Amir. Biological weapons? Sarah stared at Tom. What did you do? Tom stood slowly, walked to the refrigerator, opened it. Inside, hundreds of vials, all labeled with dates and GPS coordinates. Every water source in the region, he said. I didn't just test them. I treated them. Treated them with what? The proteins? Diluted, harmless to humans, but fatal to the waterborne parasites that have been killing wildlife and neutralizing the heavy metals from corporate contamination. Martha's chest tightened. You've been medicating the entire ecosystem. Without authorization, Robert said quietly. That's biological terrorism under international law. Or it's salvation. Tom looked at the mother cheetah. 40% reduction in wildlife mortality in treated areas. The data's all here. Surrender now, the megaphone continued. You have 60 seconds. Tom kissed Martha's forehead, started toward the door. No, Martha grabbed his arm. There has to be another way. There is. He pulled free. You continue the work. The formulas are in the journal. The lab in the basement has everything you need. Tom, 50 seconds, the megaphone announced. The mother cheetah lifted her head, made a sound urgent, frightened. Tom went to her. She was trying to stent, failing. Labor's not complete, Sarah said. Ultrasound probe on the cheetah's belly. There's another one. That's impossible. We delivered 3. There's a 4th. Look. On the screen, a heartbeat, faint. A 4th cub. Positioned wrong. Very wrong. It's breached. Wrapped in umbilical cord. Sarah's voice tight. She needs surgery. Now. 40 seconds. Tom looked at Martha, at the cheetah. At the door where soldiers waited. I can't do surgery, he said. My hands. He held them up, trembling violently. The neurological damage. I can. Martha had assisted Tom with hundreds of procedures over the years. But I need you to guide me. 30 seconds. James prepared anesthesia. Sarah readied surgical tools. But Martha looked at the mother cheetah's eyes, still conscious, watching everything. We can't wait, Martha said. Local anesthetic only. She'll feel everything. 20 seconds. She'll survive it. Martha met the cheetah's eyes. Won't you, girl? The cheetah blinked slowly. Martha took it as consent. 10 seconds. Tom moved to the door. I'm coming out. Tom, no. He turned back. Save them, Marty. All of them. He walked outside, hands raised. Through the window, Martha saw soldiers swarm him, handcuffs, rough handling. They pushed him toward a helicopter. Then she saw something else. Someone in the helicopter. A man in an expensive suit. Marcus Webb, sales of AgriFlow. Tom saw him too. Stopped walking. Said something the megaphone didn't pick up. Webb pulled out a phone. Showed Tom something on the screen. Tom's face changed. He looked back at the research station, at Martha, in the window. Marty, he shouted. Check the basement, now. Soldiers dragged him into the helicopter. It lifted off immediately. Martha ran for the basement stairs. Behind her, Sarah called out. The mother cheetah was convulsing. The basement door was locked, had always been locked. Tom said, Martha kicked it. Again, the wood splintered inside darkness. She found a light switch. The room was full of bodies. Not human bodies, cheetahs. Dozens of them, preserved in cylindrical tanks filled with clear fluid, each labeled with dates. The oldest, 3 years ago. Martha's knees hit the concrete floor. The tanks lined both walls. Cubs, juveniles, adults, all with surgical scars identical to the ones covering Tom's torso. Martha! Sarah screamed from upstairs. She's crashing! Martha grabbed the nearest clipboard. Tom's handwriting. Subject 12F wanted. Protein rejection day 4. Organ failure imminent. Next page. Subject 30 Indo 94. Successful integration but neurological degradation. Test subjects. All these years, Tom hadn't just been treating F420. He'd been Martha. Now kene. Quoi? She ran upstairs. The mother cheetah's body rigid, back arched, the monitor screaming, heart rate 38 and dropping. Respiratory failure, James said, bag masking oxygen into her lungs. The anesthesia's too much with her blood loss. Sarah had already opened a surgical kit, scalpel gleaming. We need to get the cub out now or we lose both. Martha's hands moved without thought, alcohol on her hands, gloves snapping on. the local anesthetic going in along the incision line. The mother's eye tracked her movements, pupil dilated with pain and medication. "Can she feel this?" Sarah asked. "Everything?" Martha made the first cut, skin parting under the blade, blood welling up, less than there should be. The mother had little left to give. Through the window, lightning flashed. Thunder followed immediately. The season's first storm, 3 months late. The mother's abdominal muscles separated under Martha's fingers, the uterus beneath. Purple dark with exhausted blood vessels. Through the thin wall, she felt the cub inside, not moving. "Heart rate titrate," James said. "We're losing her." Martha cut into the uterus. Amniotic fluid gushed out, tinged pink. The cub was there wrapped in umbilical cord like rope, 3 loops around its neck. The cord pulsed weakly. She unwound it carefully. 1 loop. The mother's heart monitor flatlined. "No pulse." James started compressions on the mother's chest. "Sarah, take over ventilation." 2 loops. The cub's body was blue-gray. "Too still." "Come on," Martha whispered. 3rd loop free. She pulled the cub out, clearing its airway with her finger. Nothing. No response. Rain hammered the tin roof. Through the broken windows, wind drove water across the floor. The surgical instruments scattered. Still no pulse. James's compressions made the mother's body rock. 2 minutes down. Martha worked on the cub. Chest compressions with 2 fingers. Tiny puffs of air into lungs no bigger than her thumb. The body stayed limp. Echo appeared at her elbow. The older cub shouldn't have been able to climb onto the surgical table, but there he was. He sniffed the stillborn cub, then did something that made Martha's hands stop. He positioned himself exactly as she had, placing 1 paw on the cub's chest, pressing down rhythmically. He'd watched her do this to his siblings. Now he was copying. "Jesus!" James whispered, still doing compressions. "He's trying to help." Lightning struck nearby. The lights went out. Emergency battery power kicked in, casting everything in red in that hellish light. Martha saw Echo's face focused, determined, his paw pressing, releasing, pressing. The mother cheetah's eye was still open, watching her oldest cub try to save her youngest. 3 minutes, James said. "Martha, we need to call it—" "No!" She took over from Echo. Compressions, harder now. "The proteins Tom gave her, they slow metabolism. Like he said, that's theoretical." Everything about this is theoretical. She breathed into the cub again. Compressions. Breath. Compressions. Jennifer stood in the doorway, phone still recording despite the storm. 800,000 watching. Someone from the World Health Organization just commented, they want to know about the basement. The basement. The preserved cheetahs. Evidence of Tom's experiments. 4 minutes, James said. His compressions were slowing. Exhaustion. Peterson appeared with a manual defibrillator from his tactical medical kit. Military grade, adjustable for different body mass. "That could kill them both," Sarah said. "They're already dead," Peterson replied, but his voice cracked. Martha looked at the settings, calculated rapidly. The mother weighed maybe 30 kilograms now. The cub, less than 1. "Lowest setting," she said. "James, stop compressions. Sarah, clear." She placed the paddles, one on the mother's chest, one on the cub, their bodies so close the electricity would arc through both. "Charging!" The whine of capacitors. "Clear!" The shock jerked both bodies. Nothing. Again. Higher settings. Clear. Both bodies convulsed. The mother's eye rolled back. On the monitor, a blip, then nothing. "Wait." James leaned in. "There, irregular, but there." A heartbeat, faint. "Who's—" The cub gasped. Tiny chest inflating. Then the mother's ribs expanded, both breathing, barely, but breathing. "Oxygen," Martha ordered. "Both of them. Now." They worked in the red emergency lighting, rain driving through windows. The mother's heart stabilized at 62 beats per minute, slow but steady. The fourth cub started crying weak mews that its siblings answered. Joseph's grandson David ran into "Soaked. The helicopters are coming back, but not military. Different sound." Through the storm, Martha heard it. Heavier rotors. Corporate helicopters. Agriflow's private fleet. "They can't land in this weather," Robert said. As if to prove him wrong, spotlights blazed through the windows, a helicopter descending despite the wind. Martha saw the logo on its side. Not Agriflow. Sinclair Pharmaceuticals, Agriflow's competitor. "Tom sold the research," James said quietly. "That's how he funded all this. He sold it to Sinclair." The helicopter touched down. Figures in hazmat suits emerged, not because of disease, because of the rain. They didn't want to leave DNA evidence. Peterson raised his weapon. "Nobody moves." "Check your bank account," one suited figure said. Female voice, American accent. "All of you, check them now." And Sarah pulled out her phone. Her face changed. $10 million. In my account." "Same," James whispered. Martha's phone showed the same. Even Peterson lowered his weapon, staring at his screen. "To Henderson's life insurance policy," the woman said. "Paid to everyone who helped save F-14, contingent on her survival and her cubs. Tom doesn't have life insurance worth—" Martha started. "He does now. Or did. The patents he sold us are worth approximately $2 billion. The woman approached the surgical table. "The proteins in that cheetah's blood could revolutionize immune therapy, save millions of human lives. So you're here to take her?" "No." The woman pulled off her hazmat hood. "Asian features? Maybe 40. We're here to protect her. Tom's deal with us was specific. The cheetahs stay free. We get to blood samples twice a year. Voluntary basis." "Voluntary?" Martha almost laughed. "They're wild animals." The woman looked at Echo, who was now grooming his newest sibling. "That one came to humans for help. Trusted you. That's voluntary enough." More helicopters approaching. These definitely military. "Kenyan government?" Robert asked. "International coalition." The woman said. "Tom triggered something bigger than you know. The water treatment he's been doing, it works. Every government wants it now. So they'll arrest him, torture the formula out of him. No, he's been live streaming from the helicopter. Full confession, every detail of the research, complete transparency." She held up a tablet showing Tom, handcuffed but talking steadily to a camera. 40 million watching globally. If anything happens to him now, everyone will know who's responsible. The mother cheetah tried to lift her head. Martha helped her, supporting her neck. All 4 cubs were nursing now, even the smallest. The mother's eyes found Martha's face. "You'll be okay," Martha whispered. "All of you." Thunder crashed directly overhead. The building shook. In the basement, something fell, shattered. David appeared at the stairs. "The preservation tanks are breaking. The storm's flooding the basement." Martha looked at the woman from Sinclair. Those bodies. Evidence of Tom's experiments. Evidence of his dedication, the woman corrected. Every failure taught him something and led to this success. How many died? 37. All terminal cases that conventional medicine couldn't save. He gave them a chance. The basement flooding would destroy everything. Years of data. Proof of what Tom had sacrificed, who he'd become. "Let it flood," Joseph said from the doorway. Rain ran off his traditional red shawl. The dead deserve rest. The living, he looked at the cheetah family, deserve freedom. Another helicopter landed. Through the rain, Martha saw figures approaching, not soldiers, scientists, carrying equipment cases marked with biohazard symbols. "They're here for the water data," the Sinclair woman explained. "The protein formula, everything Tom knows. He'll give it freely. Already has. Posted it online, open source. No patents, no ownership. That's worth billions. And no one can control it now." The woman smiled. "Your husband's final move, checkmate against every corporation and government that would weaponize this." The mother cheetah made a sound. Not pain, something else. She was looking at the door. Through the storm, a figure walked toward them. Tall, moving wrong. Martha's chest tightened. It wasn't Tom. It was Marcus Webb, CEO of AgriFlow. No security, no protection. Just him, rain-soaked, carrying a metal briefcase. Peterson raised his weapon. "Stop there!" Webb kept walking. Blood ran from his nose. His eyes were bloodshot, pupils dilated. "He's infected." The Sinclair woman stepped back. "Tom infected him with something." Webb smiled. His teeth were red. "Not infect, evolved." He opened the briefcase. Inside, rows of syringes, all filled with black fluid. "Tom's real research." Webb laughed, blood spraying from his mouth. "Not the proteins. What comes after? Told you." He pulled out a syringe, jabbed it into his own neck. Webb's body convulsed. The syringe fell from his hand, glass shattering on concrete, black fluid spreading like oil. His muscles seized, back arching until vertebrae popped audibly. Peterson fired. 2 shots center mass. Webb didn't fall. The bullets passed through him, hitting the wall behind. No blood, just black liquid oozing from the holes. "What did you do?" "Tom," Martha whispered. Webb's convulsions stopped. He stood straighter. The black fluid from the bullet wounds crawled up his chest like living tissue, sealing the holes. "Not Tom's work," Webb said. His voice different now, layered. "Mine. 3 years stealing his research, modifying it." He picked up another syringe. "The proteins were just the beginning. This is the end." He threw the syringe. Peterson dodged. It hit the wall, black fluid eating through concrete like acid. The mother cheetah struggled to stand, pulling her cubs against her belly. The smallest one, the one they'd just revived, wasn't moving. Martha reached for it, still breathing, but barely. "Evolution requires sacrifice." Webb stepped forward. Tom understood that. Every dead cheetah in that basement taught him something. "Stay back!" Peterson aimed for Webb's head. "You think Tom's noble?" Webb laughed, more black fluid running from his mouth. "Ask him about Subject 1, his first test, 3 years ago." Martha's hand stilled on the cub. F-429 wasn't the first. No, the first was human. Webb pulled a phone from his pocket. Screen cracked but functional. A video played, security footage, Tom in a hospital room, injecting himself with something. The date stamped 6 months before his supposed death. "He tested on himself first," Webb continued. "When it didn't kill him immediately, he moved to animals. When they started dying, he refined it, used their deaths to perfect it." The smallest cub gasped, a wet sound. Blood frothed from its tiny nose. "No." Martha compressed its chest gently. "Not now. Not after everything." Sarah checked with the ultrasound probe. "Internal bleeding. The revival caused organ damage." Webb took another step. "See? Even Tom's successes are failures. That cub's proteins are rejecting its own tissue. Same thing that happened to the others." The others. James looked at the basement door where water now flowed out. 37 cheetahs, plus Tom himself. He's dying, not in 6 months. Days, maybe hours. The proteins are eating his brain. Martha felt the cub's heartbeat under her fingers. Erratic, fading. The mother cheetah made a low sound, nudging the dying baby with her nose. "We can save it," Sarah said. "Surgery. Remove the damaged tissue." "With what equipment?" Martha looked around the makeshift lab. "We barely have sutures." The Sinclair woman stepped forward. "Our helicopter has a mobile surgical unit." "Then get it," Martha ordered. "Wait!" Webb raised his hand. Black veins spread up his arm like tree branches under his skin. "That cub's death serves a purpose. Its proteins, as they break down, will create antibodies. Harvest them now. Save thousands." "We're not harvesting anything," Martha said. "Tom would. He has before." Webb tapped his phone. Another video. Tom performing surgery on a conscious cheetah. No anesthesia. The animal's screams filled the room. "That's doctored," James said. "Is it?" Webb pointed at the mother cheetah's scars. "Ask yourself how Tom knew exactly where to cut, how he knew her anatomy so perfectly." The smallest cub seized, its body rigid, tiny legs extended, pink foam from its mouth. Pulmonary edema," Sarah said. "It's drowning in its own blood." Martha grabbed the surgical aspirator, suctioned the cub's airway. It breathed once, twice, then seized again. The mother cheetah stood despite her incision, walked to her dying cub. She knew. Animals always know. She lay down beside it, began grooming it with her tongue. The other cubs tried to nurse, but she shifted, keeping them away from their dying sibling. "She's saying goodbye," Joseph said quietly. "No." Martha prepared another syringe, epinephrine. "We don't give up." "Marty," James put his hand on hers. "Sometimes we have to." The cub's seizure stopped. It lay still, too still. Martha put her stethoscope on its chest. Nothing. Then a beat, another, minutes between them. "It's suffering," the Sinclair woman said. Webb walked closer. No one stuttered or stopped him. "Tom would end it, George, humanely. Use the death for research." Martha looked at the mother cheetah. The animal looked back. In her eyes, not hope, resignation, the same look Tom had in his final days, when he knew. Thunder crashed. The lights flickered. In that strobe effect, Martha saw Tom's journal on the table. Echo had carried it all this way. She opened it to the last entry. "If you're reading this, I'm gone and you've found the truth. Every death was necessary. Every failure brought us closer. But the hardest lesson knowing when to stop fighting. The smallest cub will die. The proteins are too unstable in premature tissue. Let it go. Marty, like you let me go." He knew. Martha's voice cracked. He knew this would happen. Webb smiled. He engineered it. The fourth cub was never meant to survive. Its death would provide the final data. The proteins in its failing organs would show exactly what went wrong with the others. The mother cheetah pulled the dying cub closer. It managed one breath, then nothing for 30 seconds, then another breath. "Agonal breathings," James said. "Brainstem reflex, it's already gone." Martha lifted the cub, so light, like holding air. Its eyes were half open, pupils fixed. But the chest moved once more. Tom planned this. She looked at Webb. All of it, even his own death, the fake one and the real one coming soon. Webb pulled out another syringe. "But I improved his formula. No death required. Just transformation." He injected himself again. His body rippled, bones cracking, reshaping. The water supplies he treated, I added my version. Everyone who drank from them is already changing. David grabbed his throat. "The well water. We all drank?" "No." Joseph stayed calm. "I boiled it first. Always. The heat would denature proteins. Webb laughed. Boiling doesn't stop what's coming. He pointed at the storm. The rain? It's in the rain now. Everyone looked at their soaked clothes, the water dripping from the broken roof. The smallest cub took its last breath, a tiny exhale, then stillness. The mother cheetah keened, a sound Martha had never heard from any animal. Pure grief. The other cubs joined, their small voices creating a chorus of loss. Martha set the body down gently. The mother pulled all her cubs close, 3 living, 1 dead. She groomed them all equally. We need to burn it, Webb said. The body, before the proteins activate posthumously. Activate? Sarah stared at him. What does that mean? Webb's transformation continued. His fingers lengthened, joints bending wrong. Death triggers a cascade. The proteins don't die. They evolve, become something else. Martha looked at the small body. Already it seemed different, darker. The blood around its nose turning black. Tom knew this too. He discovered it. That's why he preserved the bodies, not as specimens, as incubators. The basement, 37 dead cheetahs, all preserved in fluid that kept the proteins stable. The flood, Martha whispered. The tank's breaking. Webb smiled with too many teeth. Yes, they're all waking up now. From the basement came a sound, scratching, like claws on concrete, getting louder. That's impossible, James said. They're dead. Preserved death, Webb said. His voice, now barely human, is just another stage of evolution. The scratching became pounding. The basement door shook. Martha grabbed the mother cheetah's cubs, all 4 of them. Everyone out? Now! The basement door splintered. Black fluid seeped through the cracks. But it wasn't just fluid. It had eyes. The black fluid stopped at the doorframe, not eyes reflections from broken glass mixed in the water. Martha blinked hard. The basement door was intact. No scratching, no pounding, caught on just water seeping through the gap underneath. Webb collapsed. His body hit the concrete, convulsing. No transformation, just a man poisoned by his own injection. Foam poured from his mouth, pink with blood. Neurotoxin, James said, checking Webb's pulse. Not evolution, just death. The Sinclair woman pulled out a satellite phone. Medical team, now. We have a poisoning victim. Martha looked at the syringe Webb had used. The black fluid wasn't moving, wasn't alive. Just contaminated protein solution. Gone septic? He mixed Tom's formula with something else. Sarah analyzed the residue, trying to enhance it, created poison instead. Webb's eyes rolled back. Tom knew I'd steal it. Made 2 versions, real one, fake one. Where's Tom? Martha grabbed Webb's shoulders. Where did they take him? Webb pointed weakly at the helicopter outside, but not the military one that had taken Tom. A different one. Hidden behind the building, Martha ran outside. Rain still pounding. The helicopter's door was open. Inside Tom, handcuffed to the seat, but alone. The pilot's seat empty. Marty, his voice weak, Webb brought me back, wanted me to watch the cheetahs die. His revenge for... She unlocked his cuffs with keys from Webb's pocket. His wrists were raw, bleeding, but that wasn't what made her stomach clench. It was his eyes. The whites were yellow, deep jaundice. Your liver's failing. Failed. Past tense. He tried to stand. Couldn't. Hours now, maybe less. She helped him from the helicopter. Each step, he leaned heavier. Back inside, he saw the mother cheetah with her cubs. 3 alive, 1 still. His face crumpled. I'm sorry, he whispered to the mother. I calculated wrong. The premature birth, I didn't account for. The mother cheetah looked at him. Then, slowly, she pushed the dead cub toward him with her nose. She wants you to take it, Joseph said, for your research. No. Tom knelt painfully beside her. No more research. No more experiments. He picked up the small body, walked to the window, outside. Lightning illuminated the savannah. He spoke in Swahili words Martha didn't understand, but Joseph translated. From the earth you came, to the earth you return. Your death brings life to the grass. The grass feeds the antelope feeds your brothers and sisters. Nothing is lost. He placed the cub gently in a box Sarah had lined with surgical drapes. We'll bury it properly, Tom said. When the storm passes. Webb coughed from the floor where James was treating him. Sentimental fool. That cub's tissue. Worth millions. Is that why you poisoned yourself? Tom turned to him. Trying to steal my work again. Not. Still. Improve. Tom pulled a vial from his pocket. Clear fluid. This is the real formula. The one that works. But you never understood it only works with consent. Consent. The cheetah has to accept it. Choose it. That's why F49 survived when the others didn't. She chose to trust me. Martha remembered the mother cheetah's eyes that first day, the moment of decision. Webb tried to laugh, but only managed bloody foam. Animals can't consent. Echo walked over to Webb, sniffed him, then deliberately turned his back and returned to his mother. Even the cub rejected him. The Sinclair woman's medical team arrived. They loaded Webb onto a stretcher, started IV antidotes. He'd survive somewhere, probably, to face prosecution for corporate water theft. The water diversion, Martha said. We need to expose it. Jennifer held up her phone. Already done. The live stream captured Webb's confession. 2 million people heard him admit to poisoning water supplies. Tom swayed. Martha caught him, felt how light he'd become, maybe 90 pounds. The blood work, he said to Sarah. On the cubs. Did you run it? Sarah nodded, pulled up results on her tablet. All 3 surviving cubs show the antibodies. They're immune to the hemorrhagic fever. And something else. Tom pointed to a marker on the screen. Look at the genetic sequencing. Sarah enlarged the data. Her eyes widened. This is... They're not just cheetahs. King cheetah bloodline, Tom said. Thought extinct, but F429 carries it. Her cubs are the last. Joseph stepped forward. The prophecy. My grandmother spoke of the spotted kings returning when the land was dying to show us the way forward. Prophecy. Martha looked at him. The crying cub who bridges worlds? Joseph looked at Echo. He came to you, not as predator or prey, as equal. Tom's legs gave out. Martha and James lowered him to a chair. His breathing was labored, each inhale a struggle. The treatment, he said. The real one. It's in the refrigerator, bottom shelf. Martha found it. 12 vials, each labeled with a date 3 weeks in the future. I made enough for the cubs. Boosters, every month, for a year. His words came slower. Ensures the immunity passes to their offspring. What about you? Martha asked. There must be something. No. He touched her face. I knew the price. 3 years of life for them. Worth it. The mother cheetah stood, walked to Tom, despite her weakness. She rubbed her head against his leg, a gesture of affection Martha had only seen between bonded cheetahs. She remembers, Tom whispered, 3 years ago, when I saved her the first time. Why didn't you tell me? Martha's voice broke. Any of it. Agriflow had surveillance on you, on everyone. If you'd known I was alive, your reactions would have given it away. He pulled out an envelope. "This explains everything. Read it after." His breathing changed. Deeper gaps between inhales. "Tom, the water treatment works," he said urgently. "The formula's in the journal. Page 40s, but only in areas where corporations haven't poisoned." He stopped, eyes unfocused, then sharp again. "The basement. The preserved specimens. Don't let anyone take them. They're not experiments. They're evidence. Every cheetah that died from corporate poisoning, documented, proof for the trials. Martha heard vehicles approaching, many of them. Robert checked the window. Government convoy. Real one this time. 30 vehicles. They're here for the cheetahs, the Sinclair woman said. And Tom's research. Tom grabbed Martha's hand. There's a hard drive. Hidden in the cave where you found me. Everything's on it. Every crime, every payoff, every dead animal from their poisons. We'll get it, Martha promised. No. He squeezed harder. Get it now, before they stop you. She looked at the approaching vehicles, then at Tom. His skin was gray now, eyes sinking. James can handle this? Tom said, You and Sarah, take Peterson's vehicle. Go! Martha kissed his forehead. Salt and fever. I'll be back. I know. She and Sarah ran for Peterson's Land Cruiser. He threw them the keys without questions. They drove into the storm, toward the cave coordinates. Behind them, the convoy reached the research station. Martha saw troops deploying in the mirror, surrounding the building. They'll take everything, Sarah said. Not if we get the evidence first. The cave appeared through the rain. They slid down the ravine. Now a river of runoff inside. Martha found the hard drive exactly where Tom said, sealed in waterproof casing, wedged behind a rock. Sarah checked it on her laptop. Jesus, it's everything. Chemical analyses, satellite imagery showing deliberate poisoning, email chains planning it all. Upload it now. Everything. Where? Everywhere. Every news outlet, every environmental group, every government watchdog. Sarah's fingers flew across the keyboard. It'll take 20 minutes on this connection. They heard helicopters. Coming closer. Martha looked at the upload progress. 5%. They'll be here in 10 minutes, Sarah said. 7%. Thunder shook the cave. But after it, Martha heard something else. Engines, not helicopters, motorcycles. David appeared at the cave entrance with 6 other young Maasai men, all on dirt bikes. Joseph sent us, he said, to make sure you finish. They formed a line outside the cave, their bikes blocking the narrow ravine entrance. 12%. The helicopters were directly overhead now, spotlight searching. 15%. A military vehicle appeared at the ravine's top, soldiers rappelling down. 20%. The Maasai riders revved their engines, not threatening, just making noise, making their presence known. The soldiers hesitated. Martha's phone rang, Tom calling. But Tom couldn't be calling. She answered, Marty? His voice was different, stronger. Look at page 70. She opened the journal to that page, her handwriting, from a year ago. A note she'd written about treatment options she'd researched for his cancer. Below it, Tom's addition. You were right. Traditional medicine combined with modern. Joseph's grandmother knew. The fever tree bark, it stabilizes the proteins. You're not dying? I am. Just slower. Maybe weeks now instead of hours. 35% uploaded. The cheetahs, safe. Governments agreed to protection. The evidence is too public now. 40%. There's something else, Tom said. Something I didn't tell you about why I chose F4. Why? She wasn't random. 3 years ago, when I first came here alone, I was following a DNA trace, looking for specific genetic markers. 50%? What markers? The ones that match yours? Martha's hand stilled on the journal. What? Your grandmother, the one from South Africa. She wasn't fully human, Marty. The upload bar froze at 51%. Tom, stop! Martha's voice came out steady despite her racing pulse. That's not funny. Your grandmother had heterochromia, one brown eye, one with gold flecks. You have the flecks in both eyes. Diluted, but present. The upload bar started moving again. 52%. Genetic markers from the Khoisan people, Tom continued. They carry DNA from an archaic hominin species, absorbed through interbreeding 40,000 years ago. You have those markers. Marty? Soldiers reached the bottom of the ravine. David's motorcycle blocked their path. He didn't move. Sir, we need you to clear the way, a soldier said in English. I don't understand English. David replied in perfect English. 60%. The proteins I developed. Tom's voice crackled through rain static. They work because they bind to those specific markers. That's why F429 survived. She has the feline equivalent convergent evolution. You're saying I'm related to a cheetah. I'm saying you both carry genetic information from a time when the barriers between species were different, before modern humans, before modern cats. 70%? The lead soldier pushed past David. Sarah closed the laptop, shoved it inside her jacket. The soldier reached for it. That's private property, Martha said. We have orders to secure all research materials. From who? The soldier hesitated. Behind him, more troops descended. 80%? Martha's phone crackled. Marty? Listen, the Cubs need you. Not just medical care. They've bonded with you. Echo especially. Tom. 3 months. Give them 3 months. Then release them. But stay close. They'll need monitoring. 85%. The soldier reached for Sarah's jacket. Martha stepped between them. You want the research? It's already public. She held up her phone, showing a news feed. BBC, CNN, Al Jazeera, all running the story. The soldier checked his radio, voices arguing in Swahili. Then English. Stand down. Repeat. Stand down. 90%. They waited, rain drumming on stone, upload bar crawling. 95%. 98%. Complete. Sarah's laptop chimed. It's done. Everything's out there. The soldier stepped back. We're ordered to escort you to the research station. Martha and Sarah climbed from the cave. The convoy drove through flooding roads. At the station, chaos, government officials, journalists, conservation groups, everyone wanting answers. But Martha only saw Tom, propped in a chair, the mother cheetah beside him. Her head rested on his knee. The 3 cubs nursed contentedly. Where's the 4th cub? Martha asked. Joseph took it, Tom said, for proper burial, Maasai ceremony. Martha knelt beside him, touched his face, still burning with fever but alert. The genetic markers, she whispered. Tell me you were lying. Look, he showed her a laptop screen. Her DNA analysis from a physical 5 years ago. She'd volunteered it for Tom's research. Chromosome 7, the insertion sequence. She saw it, Titian, a pattern that shouldn't exist in modern humans. 12% of people with sub-Saharan ancestry have traces. Tom said, You have the full sequence. So did your grandmother. And F429, different chromosome, same type of insertion. From the same source, pre-divergence genetics. That's impossible. That's evolution. He touched her hand. You felt it, didn't you? The connection with her, deeper than training or familiarity. Martha looked at the mother cheetah. The animal looked back, those gold eyes familiar in a way that made no sense. 3 months later, the morning air was cool, unusual for January. Martha stood at the release site, watching James run final checks on the cheetahs. F429 had gained 15 kilograms. Her cubs were strong, playful, already showing hunting instincts. Echo sat apart, watching Martha pack medical supplies. He'd grown, but retained the strange patience that marked him as different. "Ready?" Sarah asked. "Video equipment prepared." They documented everything, the recovery, the treatments, the cubs' development, all public, all transparent, no secrets. Tom sat in a wheelchair, too weak to stand but stable. The fever bark treatment Joseph's grandmother provided had bought him time. Not much, but enough. "The antibodies are holding," James reported. "All 3 cubs show immunity." The release site was chosen carefully. Water sources restored after the corporate fraud exposure. Prey animals returning. The ecosystem healing. Joseph arrived with his warriors. No ceremony, he'd said. But they came anyway, in traditional dress. "The land remembers," Joseph said. "It remembers when humans and animals spoke the same language." Martha opened the transport crate. F429 emerged slowly, scenting the air. The cubs followed. Echo last, they could run, disappear into the grasslands, free. Instead, F49 walked to Tom, rubbed against his wheelchair. Each cub followed, even the shy female, a farewell. Then to Martha. F49 stood before her, eye to eye. Martha felt it again, that recognition Tom had described, not thought, but something older. "Go," Martha whispered. "Be free." F49 turned, walked toward the acacia trees. The cubs followed. 20 meters, 50, 100. Echo stopped, looked back. Martha raised her hand. He chirped once, then ran after his family. They monitored from a distance. The family established territory near water. F429 hunted successfully. The cubs learned, but Echo was different. Every week he appeared at the research station, not seeking food, just watching, learning. 6 months passed. Tom held on longer than predicted. The bark treatment, combined with the dialysis James improvised, kept him functional. One morning, Echo arrived with prey, a young gazelle, cleanly killed. He left it at the station door. "He's feeding us," Sarah laughed. "Like we're part of his family." Tom watched from his bed, weaker now but smiling. "He understands reciprocity. We saved them. Now he provides." Martha found the letter that evening, hidden in Tom's journal, dated the day he died. "Marty, if you're reading this, you know everything. The research, the genetics, the connection. I chose this path because I saw what was coming. Climate change will force evolution. The boundaries we've drawn, human, animal, us, they're breaking down. Echo proves it. He's not just a cheetah anymore. He's something new, as are you, my loved. Your genetics, your compassion, your ability to bridge worlds, your evolution in action. Save them all, not from death, but from separation. Teach them what Echo learned, that trust transcends species. I love you beyond words, beyond death, beyond the boundaries of what we call human. T, Martha cried then, first tears since finding Tom alive. A year later, Tom passed quietly. Martha held his hand. Echo was at the window, watching. He'd brought his own cubs, 3 of them. They played in the grass while their father stood guard. The conservation model changed globally. The Henderson Protocol intervention, when human activity disrupted natural selection, not interference, but responsibility. F49 lived 8 more years, had 2 more litters. The king cheetah genes spread. The immunity, too. The species survived. Echo lived to 14, old for a wild cheetah. His offspring carried something unique, not just genes, but behavior. They approached humans differently, cautious, but unafraid. They understood the concept of help. Martha documented it all. The trust that transcended species, the evolution of cooperation, Tom's legacy. She never remarried, never left Kenya. When she died at 81, something unprecedented happened. Cheetahs gathered, dozens of them. Descendants of F-429, they sat outside the research station for 3 days, not hunting, not calling, just present. Joseph's grandson, now an elder himself, understood. "They're grieving," he said. "They remember." The cheetahs dispersed after Martha's burial. But Echo's lineage continued the tradition. Every year, on the anniversary of Tom's first intervention, a cheetah would appear at the station. Leave something, a feather, a bone, a tuft of fur. Sarah, now director, documented each visit. The objects were random to scientific eyes, but arranged together they formed a pattern, a map. It led to a den where Echo's great-grandcubs were teaching their young something remarkable. They were practicing approach patterns, teaching their cubs to identify humans who might help, reading body language across species, evolution in real time. The last entry in Martha's journal, found after her death. Tom was right. The boundaries are dissolving, not into chaos, but into something more complex. Echo's descendants don't just survive, they thrive through cooperation. With us, the crying cub who asked for help became the ancestor of a new relationship. Neither pet nor wild, something unprecedented. The future is hybrid, not genetically, but behaviorally. Two species, learning to speak a common language of survival. Tom saw it coming, prepared for it, died for it. And it was worth everything. Below that, in shaky handwriting, I can feel it in my bones, the ancient memory Tom spoke of. We were never separate. We just forgot, for a while, that we're all part of the same story. The research station still operates, still monitors, still intervenes when necessary, and sometimes, when the morning light catches the grass just right, a cheetah appears at the window, watching, waiting, ready to ask for help, ready to give it. The bridge between worlds holds strong. When I first heard Martha's story through those yellow journal pages, I thought it was about saving cheetahs. I was wrong. It's about the moment we stop seeing ourselves as separate from the wild. Martha discovered what indigenous peoples had always knew, that the line between human and animal is something we invented. Echo didn't just cry for help. He recognized something ancient in Martha, the same recognition she felt looking into his mother's eyes. We carry wilderness in our DNA, fragments of a time before the Great Divide. Every act of compassion toward wildlife is really a conversation with our deepest selves. This story was inspired by documented wildlife conservation efforts in Kenya, created solely for entertainment purposes. This narrative does not condone, encourage, or promote any form of violence or harmful behavior toward animals or humans. All characters and events described are products of creative imagination. Any resemblance to real persons, living or deceased, or actual events is purely coincidental. The medical procedures and genetic theories presented are fictional and should not be considered scientific fact. Wildlife should only be handled by trained professionals. Always respect wild animals and maintain appropriate distances for both human and animal safety.